Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to see a hook which is use context, and we are going to see why exactly we need to use context in reactjs. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing so you won't miss any future content. Now let's start the video. Yes. So let's understand why exactly we need to use context in our React.js application. Okay. So as you can see here, we can see a tree diagram of the components. Okay. So hierarchical wise, we can see that app.js is the main component where the other components will be imported and rendered. Okay. So here you can see we have a main component and header and the cart component. Three components we have, and in the main component we can see there is a products component, and in that we have product card component. Okay, so this is the hierarchy we have. Now let's suppose that we have to add some product items into a cart. Okay, so here what I will do, here we'll have a button. Okay, and once you click on that button, the cart count will be incremented by 1. Okay, so this is what it is will going to happen inside this product cart. Okay, but here what exactly will happen is the state which we are managing, that will be inside product card only. The +1 we did, right? Like the count is in the product card, but we have to show that count in the header as well as in the cart. Okay, and if suppose we want to show in the main as well, we can't show it because we know that in reactjs the data flow from the top to bottom. So child component cannot send anything to the parent. Okay, that's how the flow is. Okay, so now what is the problem here? We want to show this count in the header as well as in the cart component. Okay, so with this approach we can't do it. Okay, then in this case what we have to do is we have to create our state inside app.js as count, and that count we have to pass here in the main, and then same here in the product card and same in the product card. Okay, like products and product card, and same count we have to pass it in the header, and then same thing in the cart. Okay, but here the problem is, okay, app component doesn't need count, main component doesn't need count, and products also doesn't need count. Only product card, header and cart, these three components needed that. But what we are doing is we are doing prop drilling, okay, to in order to provide these things. But this is a very wrong method to do it. So what is the best way to do it is we have to use context. Okay, use context we can use to overcome this problem. Okay, so what exactly use context will do is use context will have a component that will wrap all these components into one single component. Okay, and it will have that what do we say, state, okay, as a count. Let's say count it will have. Okay, but here we don't need to do prop drilling. Okay, we can directly take this value and put wherever we want. Okay, in this component, and suppose here we want, like in the product card we want to keep, we can keep it here. Okay, and if cart we want to keep, we can keep it here. Okay, so this is how it will work. We don't need to do any prop drilling. We can subscribe. Okay, subscribing in the sense we have to subscribe to the context which we have created. This bigger box you can see, right? This is our current context, we can say, and these component need to subscribe to this component or the context. Okay, then only this count value will be accessible in these components. Okay, that's how the process will be. What exactly we are doing here is we are creating a context, and inside that context all our component will be rendered, and there whoever need the value, okay, need to subscribe to that context to get the value out of it. Okay, that's how the process will be. So let's go to the code and let's see how we can implement in the react.js. Okay, yes. So as you can see on my screen, I have opened the practice app which we have started at the first. Okay, and this is what the project we have, and here we our components are there. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's create a folder where we are going to create all our components similar to this way, so that we can achieve this whatever we want. Okay, the use context we can achieve. So I'll create one uh, folder saying that context, and inside that let me have what do we say, main.js. Okay, and we need products.js. Okay, and inside that we'll have product card.js. Okay, and then similar to that way we'll have a header.js. Okay, so let's have this only. Later we'll create the cart as well. Okay, so RFC I'll do because we have the time constraint. Okay, that's the reason. Then product card and then header. Okay, so all the components are created properly now. And in the product component, I'll do one thing here. I'll say h1 product card. Okay, and I'll have a button here, add to cart. Okay, add to cart we'll have in the product card, and in the products we have to import the product card here. Okay, because this is the child. Okay, product card is the child of products component. Okay, and we can have multiple ones. Okay, because products can be multiple. Okay, that's the reason we can have multiple here. Okay, and then in the main, what we can do here is in the main we can import the products here. Okay, this is the products, and this is how we can do it. Okay, and in the header, what we have to do is, let's say here I'll say span header. Okay, and in the one more span I'll say cart. Okay, and cart value by default it will be 0 value. Okay, because we want to show the cart number, whatever cart we have did, that number will going to come here. Okay, that's what we are doing right now. So let's import these two components here. Okay, let me comment on this h1, and here let me comment use context. Okay, and here we can import our component, which is main first. Okay, now first we'll have to do header. Okay, because header is first, then the main. Okay, so now you can see I have did header component we have first, and then we have main component. Okay, let me go back, and you can see here we have header, we have main. Inside that you can see products, and we have products card. Okay, this is the product. Let me write it in a h1 as well, products. Okay, and for this thing I'll just write h3, so it will be smaller. Okay, so now you can see we have header, we have main component, in this products we have, and the all products. Okay, for example purpose I'm showing this. You can do better than this. Okay, you can have your Amazon clone or something like that, e-commerce website, and you'll have products, and in the header you can show whatever add to cart you did, that you can show there. Okay, so that's how it will be. So once this is created, once our structure is created, now what we can do is we can go to see like how we can create the use context. Okay, so the context we have to create for these two components. Okay, and before that I'll show you one more thing here. You can see in the bottom, I don't think so you can see here, there is a start tree. Okay, I'll show you one package which is a very helpful to you if you use it. Okay, so the name is react tree. Okay, and this is the package. So once you install it, you can see the visual components. Okay, basically like I'll show you what exactly I mean. If I click on start tree, it will open something like this window. Okay, let me just do this. Select file, it will say. So I just need to select file wherever it is. Let me go to playground, then react, and then practice app and src, and app.js is our parent, right? So let me select that, or you can do index.js as well. It's up to you. Okay, let me select. Now you see this is the visual representation of your components. Okay, you have index.js, inside that you have error boundary and app, and inside app you have header and main, and inside main you have products and product card, and these are three components you can see. Okay, so this is a very useful package to understand how the components hierarchy is going on. Okay, so that you can download react tree. That's the extension, VS Code extension. Okay, yeah, so now we are good with respect to our components creation. Now we can create our context. Okay, so inside src I'll create one file as context. Okay, that's a folder, sorry, and inside that I'll create a context file which is cart context. Okay, because we want to create it for the cart. Okay, that's why. So .js, here what we can do is first we have to import react first, basically react, and then comma from react. Okay, and inside this you can have create context then. Okay, because we want to create a context, that's why we can use create context as the this thing. Okay, So once we do this, what we can do is we can have first we can export, then constant, and then whatever name we want to provide. I'll say cart context. Okay, equal to create context. Okay, this is how we can create it. And now we can do one more thing is we have to create a context provider. Okay, so for that also I'll say export, and then constant, I'll say cart context provider. Okay, equals to, this is a functional component, so we can do this one. Okay, so basically I created a function and I'm exporting on the same time. Okay, and you can write function, or if I am creating arrow function, we can write constant. Okay, we can create arrow functions as well. So here I'm going to return. Okay, and what exactly we are going to return, that's a very important thing. We have to return cart context dot provider. Okay, and the provider is coming from this thing, this we have created here, right? From here this provider will come here. Okay, and once it is done, what we have to do is we have to accept all the other components. These components we can see, right? Because we have to wrap our component, this context component, to these things, so this should render. If we want these things to be rendered, we have to accept this as a children. Okay, and what we have to do is we have to use it here. Okay, like this, and that's it. So it will be render now. So the spelling mistakes are there. Okay, so this is how we can do it once. So now what we have to do is, now we have to define our state. Okay, because we have to define our state here. Okay, so what will our state will be cart comma set cart. Okay, and equals to use state, I'll say, and the initial value will be 0, and you should not forget to import it, use state. Okay, once it is done, I'll create a one function here, which name will be add to cart. Okay, because we have to add the items to the cart. Okay, and here I'll just increment by 1. Okay, so cart plus 1. Okay, whatever previous value is there plus 1. Okay, that's how I will do here. Then what we have to do is, we have cart, we have say add to cart function. Now we have to make sure that it is available for whoever is subscribing to this cart context. Okay, so what we can do is, inside here we can write value equal to curly braces and again curly braces, and we can write cart comma add to cart. Okay, that's it. So this is how we can create our context. This is just a creation of the context. Okay, now what we can do, we can see how we can wrap it with our components. Okay, so what we have to do is, first thing we have to import it, import from dot slash context slash this file, and we have to import cart context provider, not the context. We have to take the provider. Okay, which is the other function which we created, right? Cart context provider. And this thing, we can, what we can do is, we can create as a component here, and it should have ending as well, like the end tag. Okay, and these two components we can put inside this. Okay, and this is how we can have our context created for these two things. Okay, these two header and main, we have created our context. Okay, and if you want the app also to become inside this, what you can do is, you can import inside the index.js, and you can wrap app.js between this thing, like cart context. Okay, that's how you can make sure the app is also coming inside the context. Okay, but now this is how we can create the context like this, and we can define what we want here, and then what we can do is, we can wrap the component like this. Okay, this is how we can do it. Now let's see how we can use it, okay, in the other components. Yes, so to use it, what we have to do is, firstly we have to import use context. Okay, so here comes the use context. Okay, and here we can initialize it first. Okay, constant, and the destructuring we have to do actually. Okay, use context again, and inside that we have to provide the our context. What is our context? Our context is here. Okay, the cart context. This thing we have to import in our product cart. Let's import it. So import from here, from dot slash, no, it's not here, so we have to go one directory back, and here context is here. Inside that no, not this one actually. We have to go, I think, one more directory outside. Let's see. Yeah, here it is, the context. And inside this, we have our cart context. And this should be available for us. And this cart context, you have to provide inside the use context so that this component is linked with the cart context. Okay, it means the subscribing to this. Okay, the subscribing word comes here. So you are subscribing, this product card is subscribing to the cart context to get the functions and the values here. Okay, so here we need add to card as a our function here. Okay, so this is the add to card, and we are exporting as well. Exporting means the giving as a value. Okay, and this thing what we can do is on click event we can have it here, and we can use add to cart. Okay, and no need to call basically because we are not providing any values here. Okay, so just add to cart, that's it. And then we can go to our header and we can do the same thing. Okay, let's do the same thing. Let's import our context from dot slash it came out and context slash this one. Okay, and we want the cart context to be here, and let's import the use context from here. And then what we can do is we can use it here again, destructuring use context, and inside that we can provide our cart context. Okay, and here we only require count. Okay, count like this, and instead of this 0 we can just replace it to with count. Okay, so yes, I think all set. We are connected, our product cards are connected with the card context and also the header. Okay, now let's go back. Let's see how exactly it is working right now. Okay, yes, so here actually we did a small mistake. It should not be count, it should be cart. Okay, because we have set as our cart as a state. Okay, so we can change that there, and let's go and check. Let me refresh, and we can see the 0 is coming here. Okay, means it is properly fine. Let's try to click on add to cart. Okay, so I'm clicking on add to cart, and you can see the count is increasing. Okay, the count is increasing on all the buttons. Okay, so it means we are able to achieve use context. What we are doing here is we have just created a context which is available for both header and the main, and we can easily access count. Okay, or the cart, you can say, in the product card. We don't need to go into the main like as we do in the prop drilling, like give it to main and then give it to product, then give it to product card. This thing we don't need to do it. We have a context, we can directly provide, or we can directly get the whatever we need from the context which we have, and that value we can directly access in anywhere in our context. Okay, whatever components you have used. If you use something outside, suppose this cleanup something, this cannot have the access to this particular context because this is outside of the context. That thing we have to make sure we are doing it. Okay, so this is how we can create use context. This is how we can create like use context, and this is how we can create our context, and this is how we can use it, like creating, like giving the context to the components and using inside the components by subscribing to the context using use context hook. Okay, in the both the components. Okay, so this is how we can do it. Yes, so this is about the use context hook, how exactly we can use it, and we also saw like what is the major problem in our React components. Because of this, we have to use context. Okay, so thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing and give it a like. I'll be back with more content in the next video. Thank you.